I hereby call this meeting of the Nevada City Planning Commission to order. We acknowledge that the Nisenan people are still here among us today, though nearly invisible. We understand that we are on Nisenan land that was never ceded, and the original tribal families have yet to recover from the near genocide of their people. As a resident or visitor in Nisenan land, we support the Nevada City Rancheria and Nisenan tribe in efforts to stabilize their people, as well as their campaign to restore federal recognition. Please join me in the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Simmons? Here. Commissioner Nye?
Here.
Commissioner Hadami?
Here.
Vice Chair Cobden?
Here.
And Chair Brown?
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Corrections to the agenda. I know there was a memo that was added to the online packet. You want to comment on that?
Yes, there were 3 separate memos added to the packet yesterday. One was a request to continue the item for 514 Nevada Street. That applicant's not available to be here today for medical reasons. That's the only modification to the agenda. I'll go over the memos as we go over each item, the other 2.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Next is public comment. This is the opportunity for anyone in the public to comment on an item that is not on the agenda. If you'd like to comment on any items on the agenda, we will have a comment period when each of those is brought up. Is there anyone here who would like to speak to an item not on the agenda? Great. Seeing no one, I'll move on to the consent calendar. Is there anyone on the commission or in the public who would like to comment or pull any items from the consent calendar? Seeing no one, someone like to make a motion on the consent?
I move we approve the consent calendar.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Great. Item passes. Moving on then to the first item, which is, having a hard time reading, 437 Broad Street, architectural review for window replacement. The applicant's here. Please come up to the table here. Welcome. And Jessica.
Okay, thank you, Chair Brown and Commissioners. Jessica Hankins, City Planner. So this project was continued from the April 8th Planning Commission meeting due to lack of quorum at that meeting. This project is proposing to replace all of the windows at 437 Broad Street, which is just up the hill adjacent to the Methodist Church. It is located just outside the original historical district, so it is not considered a contributing building in the historical district, but it is located within the city's current historical district overlay zone. And it is obviously a pre-World War II property. There was a previous proposal for window replacement with one JELD-WEN all-wood window at this location. The proposed application today is for 18 window replacements, and that would be, right now they are single pane, single hung wood windows in the home. And these would be double pane, single hung fiberglass windows in the Milgard Fiberglass Tuscany series. Of those 18 windows, the applicant has stated that 14 are inoperable, 4 require support to remain open, only 3 have working locks, and all have visible gaps. So they are in need of replacement. They can't be repaired. So that is an item to note because one of the items in our municipal code states that deteriorated architectural features should be repaired rather than replaced whenever possible, but that's not possible in this particular case, at least not financially feasibly possible. So in terms of the project's analysis against the design guidelines, fiberglass windows are supported in the city's design guidelines. Because of their strength and low maintenance, and the guidelines state that the Planning Commission will consider the fact that if the windows have the same proportions of a wood window, then they can possibly be considered as meeting the city's requirements. In the past, the city had preferred the use of historically correct wood windows, and now, as you all know, we are working on an update to the design guidelines due to fire issues that will potentially support, where it's in discussion still, alternatives to wood windows in the historical district. The applicant's proposing the fiberglass windows because they can be painted. That's one of the benefits to them, unlike clad windows, aluminum clad, and they are fire resistant as well. So all of the windows proposed for replacement are consistent with the existing windows in terms of the divided lights and the placement 1/1, with one exception, which is the front windows right now have 2 vertical divided lights, and the applicant was proposing a single hung undivided windows on the front. So you can see here, this is one of the front windows that has the vertical divided lights. And then these also have, I would just point out that they have a screen. This is actually a screen over the existing window. Those would be put back after the windows are replaced. So these decorative elements would remain in place. Staff is recommending true divided lights consistent with the design guidelines, but I did want to bring to the Planning Commission's attention that there are other types of windows that potentially could be supported as well. So I've got 4 of the different types of divided lights that are possible. Obviously, on the far left is the authentic divided light, and that's preferred by the design guidelines. The grills between glass is really visible from the street, so staff is not recommending that at all. Simulated divided lights and the simulated divided light with a spacer bar are very similar looking from the street. So staff would support that as well if the commission wanted to go in that direction. So staff is recommending that the commission find the project exempt from CEQA and approve the architectural review application for the new windows, making findings A through D with the conditions of approval shown in the staff report, which includes accepting the 2 front windows from the application to be more consistent with the existing windows. That concludes the presentation. Happy to answer questions.
Great, thank you. Anything you'd like to add to that?
She did such a great job. I like the fact that you put in our current windows are extremely drafty. That's our biggest problem. I mean, you can walk by our windows on a windy day with a candle and it'll blow it out. Literally, it's our electricity bills through the roof. So that's what I'm going to say.
Great, thank you. Questions from the commission on this item?
Yeah, I have one. I think the applicant's preference is just a 1/1 window on the 2 on the front porch.
Yeah.
But is one of the simulated divided light options available with the window manufacturer that you prefer?
No, we'd have to go with another manufacturer to get anything done on that. Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yeah. On those Tuscany windows, the new fiberglass windows, they're a brand new product. And the distributor dealer told me, he said, we can probably find something if you want to put like a fake over the front, but we don't have them yet for that. We have them for the old stuff, but not for the new. So, and it's the only 2 windows like that in the whole house.
Right. Okay, so yeah, I was just wondering if the same manufacturer with the same window line offers a divided light option.
So I shouldn't say this, but so the clad windows, they had those, but the clad windows, they come in a color, and that's it. You don't get to change. These we wanted to go with because we could paint it. We just painted our house a year ago, and I thought, oh crap. And I know somebody who bought the clad windows and painted their house to match their clad windows, and we didn't want to do that. It looks great. It all matches up, but
But you don't want to repaint.
don't want to do repaint. It was a horror to begin with.
Okay, thanks, Rick.
Yeah.
I think I can tell this, but just a technical question. What's the difference between a true divided light and a simulated divided light? Is it just that it doesn't go all the way through the window?
I think those cross sections, and Jessica can jump in here and explain more, show it well, like the true divided light has wood all the way
It's
through.
separated panes out that it has to be manufactured
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the
Whereas-
totally separate panes, where the simulated
Yes.
ones, they just kind of,
They have it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say they attach to
It
each
goes on,
side.
it goes on the front and
And
with
so does that
the,
make it cheaper to do that? I don't know why I'm looking at you. Are you the expert on windows? Who's the expert on windows?
over here to our.
Is it cheaper to do
The
the,
simulated versus
Oh,
the true
to
divided
do
light.
true
And I know you
divided
don't
light.
like them. I saw that in the.
the true
you don't
divided
like
light
them.
is somebody who has to come in, they have to manufacture it. It's not like you can't buy them anymore at a window store.
There is a difference in the look.
Yeah.
Aesthetic.
I may be a window expert.
Yeah, tell me, what's the difference?
Ish. But the true divided light windows now, the Munton bars, which are the things that divide them,
Yeah.
are actually wider on the true divided light. So the simulated ones, this is my sense of it. The simulated ones, especially the one with the spacer bar, really well. It well imitates the true divided light with a thinner Munton, which is it'd be more historically passable.
The simulated divided
Yeah,
light, not
the
the
one all the way on the
SDLS.
right.
Yeah, okay.
So Tom, as you're a window expert-ish, I think that's what you said. Why would they build a house with the divided lights on only 2 windows? 16 more, they don't have them.
They're prettier. I mean, it might have been a design decision back then, because they're probably all of the same age, the windows in your house.
Yeah, they definitely are. We have 4 front-facing windows, and only 2 of them have that, and it's just,
And all of your windows have the weighted glass for the ones that haven't been broken through.
Absolutely,
through the years.
yeah.
Is it possible that your house was made from a kit? It could
Oh,
also
no.
just have been the way.
No, not,
There are a lot of kit houses in this house.
it could have been originally in 1869 or whatever, it could have been like I doubt if it was a kit, but you can tell if you go through our house where the next expansion came up, the wood floor changes, and then and as does the trim. The side trim on our house goes from like a 7-inch trim to a 4-inch trim to a 6-inch trim to a very back is kind of a combination of it all. So it was just built out and built out and built out.
Any other questions before I open it to the public for comment?
Nope.
Seeing none. Is there anyone in the public who'd like to comment on this item? Seeing no one, I'll come back to the commission for discussion. Anyone?
So what are our, the 2 front windows? That's what we're talking about.
Well, we're talking about the whole,
We're talking about all the
All the
windows,
windows.
right? So.
Okay, but
it's the 2 front ones that are different, and the applicant has proposed making replacing them with something that's different from what is there now, but
Right.
consistent with the windows in the rest of the house.
okay.
So I'll make a comment. In general, I would be in favor of keeping the original divided lights in that location. But given that you have found a product that is paintable, which I think is better in general, it's fire resistant, and the fact that these windows would be consistent with the rest of the house, for my opinion, in this case, given those facts, this change is okay. So that's my comment on this item, if other people would like to add discussion.
I'll jump in. The fact that they're paintable lends a more traditional air to it than a clad that sort of slick, powder-coated cladding. So the fact that it's a choice between were we to require you to do a 1/1 true divided light for the front windows, since they're so prominent, my choice would be to make them the paintable fiberglass ones. because it's a subtle detail, it matters, but given the realities, the economic realities of the situation and the practical realities, I'm all for your proposal.
Anyone else?
No, I agree with that, and I like that the screen still has that little decorative
Yeah, it's
feature
nice.
to it, yeah, that you're gonna keep those, yeah.
I agree. Anyone else? If not,
I like the little lesson in the windows from you guys. I agree.
great. All right, I will go ahead and make a motion then to find the project exempt from CEQA and to approve the architectural review application for the new windows with the attached conditions of approval, making the findings A to D, and accepting the change in the 2 front windows as discussed.
I'll second.
We have a motion, a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Nye?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanmi?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cobden?
Yes,
Chair Brown?
Yes, motion passes.
easy
Great.
My
peasy.
wife will thank you and our bank account will thank you.
Thank you.
You had to make the long walk down here twice.
Thank you, Rick.
All right, the next item is 426 Broad Street, architectural review for exterior building modifications in the historic district, change of paint colors, and a sign permit in the historic district, if the applicant would come forward for that one. Come on up and sit at the table.
Packet. We have a packet.
Pass this around. Okay.
Comes back to us at last.
Your shirt resembles your proposed signboard.
Figured I'd make it an easy reference.
There's a little sort of packet for each of you. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3. There you go.
Okay, I'll take the top.
Okay, so you should each have
Okay.
2 packets. Okay, great. So yes, this application is for an architectural review for a change of paint colors and a sign permit in the historical district. This property actually was a single-family residence for quite some time through the 1980s, and in the mid-80s it was converted to a commercial use. It is in the historical district overlay, like the last home, but is outside the area covered by the National Register, so it is not registered as a contributing building. Currently, the applicant is in the process of completing tenant improvements, which are undergoing building plan review right now and planning permits for a new restaurant at this location. The tenant improvements and roof-mounted equipment installation is currently underway but not completed. Those items are ministerial, so they're not included in this staff report, but I'm happy to discuss them if needed. So the applicant is proposing to repaint the exterior to Sycamore CC 350. So you can see in the packet, this first packet that you have, the color that's shown in the rendering, which is also in the staff report, is a lot more vivid than the color that you see on the paint chip.
On the paint chip, it's been, they changed it, so it's 1137.
Thank
On
you.
the packet
Thank
says
you.
Sycamore.
Can you give us the numbers of the other colors that we have here?
The other colors are the same. The Heppel white is the Heppel white.
Okay.
That hasn't changed. And then I think on our proposal, there's a blue application for a blue color, but that was the wrong color. So we've submitted the right one to you this afternoon. It would be the ETSI 128.
128.
And then I have some photographs as well of these, the paint colors that you're proposing are now up on the side of the building, right? So those are shown in these photographs, so you can see what that looks like compared to the existing colors.
Jessica,
Yeah.
one sec, I don't think we have HC 128,
We have HC 132 at the top.
130 through 132.
Here's a 128.
We have greens.
Do you have a different one?
We have, yeah, ours are.
Yeah, I have,
Harrisburg, yeah, at the top.
There you go. I think we only have
We can share.
Yeah, we can share, yeah. Okay, 128.
They're so similar, even we got confused between the two.
they are, they are.
And so we have 1137, the 128, and what was the other one?
Hepplewhite.
Stick with this one.
Because I don't see a color.
It's 36.
36, oh, 36, got it. Thank you. All right, sorry
Okay.
for the interruption.
No worries. So this is, again, a photograph today. I actually took this just before the meeting. This is what it would look like in person. And then, as you can see, I'm going to just scroll down. The rendering is a lot darker than the paint chips that you have in front of you. So we should be going by the paint chips, just to be clear. Okay. And then the sign that's proposed would go on the existing frame that's already there and that's been used by previous tenants of the building. The background on the sign is an off-white, it's Lancaster whitewash, and all of the colors proposed on here are from the historical collection for Benjamin Moore. It's a double-sided sign, and the total dimensions are 21 square feet. So the colors that are proposed are consistent with the California Gold Rush era colors, which were generally muted natural earth tones such as beige, cream, ochre, clay colors, similar to the ones that are proposed here with this application. They are consistent with the design guidelines as well, because that is the design guidelines state that they need to be consistent with the mother lode era. And I think we've already gone over what those colors are. So moving on to the sign permit, the proposed sign does meet all of the standards set forth in the Historical District Sign Ordinance for all of the criteria in that ordinance for materials, size, lighting, projection, and those items. The colors are also consistent with the subdued muted colors supported in the design guidelines, and the lettering is slab serif, consistent with mother lode era signs. I put an image of this fun sign I found in one of our historical photographs on Broad Street from the 1890s that reminded me of the proposed sign. No lighting is proposed on the sign. So this project is consistent with the code and the design guidelines, and staff is recommending that the Planning Commission find it exempt from CEQA, making the finding A shown there, and approve the architectural review application for new paint colors, making findings A and B, approve the sign permit as well, making findings A and B, all with the recommended conditions of approval shown in the staff report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. Anything you'd like to add to that?
No, but just to be clear, and by introduction, the actual owners of the property is my spouse Lilu, who is sitting there, and our friend Vidya, whose spouse Santosh is sitting here. Vidya is at work. I'm developing and managing the project. I think Planning Director Jessica covered pretty much everything. So not much. We're just eager to get this going and have the restaurant open as soon as possible.
Great, thank you. All right, come back to the commission for questions. Is there anyone who has a question?
I just want to say again, I really appreciate it when you put the pictures in for reference. I find that so helpful, so thank you for that.
Agreed.
Yeah. And I'm excited for Nepalese food. That's right down the street from my house, so.
Save it for the comments.
Oh, sorry, gosh, but I'm so excited.
Questions? Are there
Oh,
any
questions, okay. Are there other examples where there are 3 little signs hanging down? I couldn't see any or think of any in town.
I'm thinking
about
some
this
across the
before.
street.
Yeah, directly across the street.
Really?
Yeah,
Where?
well, they're separate businesses, but there's
Oh,
In
yeah,
one
at
building.
the plant.
multiple signs hanging.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I did see that. I did see that, actually. Thanks.
Other questions?
No, I'm done.
None there? Any questions on this side?
I do, shockingly. in the rendering, we know the body color is not representative, but the door and the porch ceiling will be the green color?
Yes.
Okay,
So the window frame and then the door will be the Etsy 132.
and then
The trims will be the Heppel white.
okay, and, right.
Oh,
and
the door is 132,
Yes. The
not
door-
128.
I think we traded out for your,
131.
Oh, sorry, sorry, yes,
128,
so I'm
yeah.
reading the one I traded out from you. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Okay, the 128, got it.
128.
HC 131 is very close to 128.
Yeah,
so
they
it's
are pretty
kind of
close.
Pretty
Yeah.
representative.
It's a nice green.
Yes. Okay, so my.
Again, that's how similar they are.
Yeah, and the frame that the sign hangs from is
It's going to be
also
white.
White, okay. All right. Good, thanks.
Also, we didn't find, either we forgot or we didn't find the fences will also be white. It is currently black. So,
And it'll be the Heppel white?
sorry.
It'll be the Heppel white or?
No,
white
it'll just
white?
be
Looks like a
classic
bright white.
Classic white.
And that's what's shown in the picture here, so, yeah.
Yes, and I would point out to you, that's more consistent with the next door neighbor's fence here as well. And with other fences in downtown.
Okay. Other questions, Tom?
Yeah, just one more, the chains on the sign that separate are those metal chains?
Metal chains.
Yeah, okay.
Links. Small links.
And the arbor remains natural wood, the arbor as you
Yes.
go through the gate?
Yes.
Yeah. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Jim, do you have any questions?
Nope.
Okay. If there are no more questions, I'll go to the public for discussion. If there's someone who'd like to, has a comment, please come up to the podium there.
as if you can't get enough of me, right? As somebody who looks at this building every day over and over and over, I can't tell you how happy and thrilled I am to see it being renovated, especially with a great name like that. So the colors to me are, it's going to look great to have it there. I think it's going to be a big improvement for that part of the street. Hopefully, it'll get people coming up the street. So anyway, good job. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who has a comment? Yeah, please come up to the podium. Oh, please come to the podium so they can hear you on the recording and on the live cast.
So just to be clear, those colors aren't quite the same as the colors on the wall, right, that we see? Okay. Yeah. So, okay. This is, first of all, this is not directed to our new neighbors. We wish them the best, but it is directed to the Planning Commission. And it goes like this. None of you considered the next door neighbor's view from their windows, and so we're about 20 feet away from the kitchen exhaust fan. So, we used to have an unobstructed view of the firehouse tower. And I understand why restaurant might require these things, but not a single one of you did the due diligence to put yourselves in our shoes on how it would impact us. And I want that on record. On that, you were utterly negligent. And that, if you want to check it out, you're welcome to come visit our place, look out our windows. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else who'd like to comment?
Huck Ingram, and I have 427 Broad Street. And I just wanted to echo Rick's sentiment that we are very excited to have something up Broad Street and have a restaurant there. And I love the colors, and it's a welcome change from the blue. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing no more comments, I'll come back to the commission for discussion. Anyone who would like to start the discussion on this item?
Well, I mean, I'll just say that the colors are wonderful, and it's a relief that it's not the rendering online. Looks really cheerful, and in the historic feel, pastel colors, and also, yeah, I'm just like slightly uncharacteristically cheerful for downtown, which is very nice. And the signage is also same thing. The multiple signs, generally they are used for separate businesses in a single location. But you have the opportunity, there's absolutely nothing wrong by code to do it. And again, it's a playful use of the context you have for it. So it all looks good to me.
Thank you, Tom. Others? Jim? You look
Yeah,
like you were gonna say something.
I had read earlier the letter from the gentleman and the neighbor, 432. And my understanding when I read it was that it was a concern about the color, which was depicted in the report, which is obviously very different from the color that we're looking at now. So it's like a whole different ballgame. That was what I saw in the in your letter. So I was relieved when we got the paint chips, both just in general in terms of it being in the context of neighboring properties, and as other people have said, and I was hoping that it would work for the neighbor as well. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? No?
It looks so wonderful. I'm just really excited to eat there.
Thank you.
I second that, obviously.
Excellent. All right, if there's no more discussion, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to determine the project exempt from CEQA with the finding A, and also to approve the architectural review with findings A and B, and finally to approve the sign permit with findings A and B, including conditions of approval 1 through 6.
Great.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Nye?
Yes.
Commissioner Halimi?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cobden?
Yes.
Chair Brown?
Yes. Great. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Very happy to be here.
All right, going on to the next item, which is 312 Commercial Street, Historical District Sign Permit for Sopa House of Thai. The applicant here. Excellent. Please come forward. Welcome. Jessica.
Thank you. Yes, so this is a historical district sign application, and I want to note before starting that the applicant, after the staff report packet was published on Friday, we have a revised application for the sign. So I'm going to give a little bit of background on the property first out of the main staff report packet, and then I'll jump over to my revised or updated memo on the project. So this property is located in the historical district, and it is in a contributing building in the National Register of Historic Places. It is one of the last 5 remaining buildings from Nevada City's Chinese quarters, and it was Singley's Laundry for many, many years. It has, and you can see Singley's Laundry was in 312, which was the structure on the right. And there's been many uses in both of these structures over the years, and obviously Sopa Thai now occupies both of the structures combined. So currently, I'm going to skip over the proposed signs since they have changed. The existing signs at Sopa Thai, you can see there are three signs. There's a corner sign, a second corner sign that's smaller, and another one on Commercial. And so I scoured city records to try to find the approval for this, to see how it was approved, because the aggregate area of all these signs is more than is allowed in the sign ordinance for the historical district. It's 40 square feet versus 24 that's allowed. I could not find an approval anywhere. It doesn't mean it wasn't approved. It may have been approved at some point. I was able to find a lot of other sign permits that were approved over the years, going back to 1978. And all of the signs for both of the buildings had never went over 24.75 square feet. So staff is recommending that the aggregate sign area be modified here to be consistent with the historical district sign ordinance. And obviously, the planning commission can make a different finding on that if they would like. The ordinance states that the aggregate sign area is per business entity and not per address as well. So just wanted to go over that. And actually, let me highlight this while I'm still in this particular report. There are 2 signs allowed on, if you have frontage on 2 sides, and there are entrances on each of those sides, just to direct people if they're going to go in one entrance on one side. So that may have been how the original Sopotai signs were done. Okay, so let me, sorry, I've got some things in the way here. Here we go. Okay. So the sign that's proposed in terms of the design, it's on 3/4 inch MDO sign ply. This is the original proposed sign that was in the Friday packet. And then staff had recommended some changes in order to recommend approval. Those included changing the background color from a bright white to an off-white, which was done here. Changing the color gradient that is shown here that kind of gives it a gold appearance to a flat color. And that was done throughout. And then being more consistent with the Motherlode era of lettering. And that was done with the slab serif font, and the graphic as well is now more consistent. The design guidelines for the historic district do state that a lot of times on the old signs, they would use a graphic or a simple graphic in order to direct people and be a hat for the hat store, that type of thing. So this is consistent with the signage design guidelines. So staff is recommending now that the Planning Commission approve the new proposed sign, find the project exempt from CEQA, and approve the historical district sign application with the changes that are now proposed, reducing the number of signs to 2 or an aggregate area of 24 square feet, or as may be modified by the Planning Commission at hearing, making findings A and B and with the conditions of approval shown in the staff report. That's it. Happy to answer questions.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Anything you'd like to add to that?
Excuse me, no, not at the moment. I think Jessica got it all down. She's the one that's been helping me, so that's it.
Okay, great, thank you. Questions from the commission? Anyone? Saying,
Yes.
Tom?
Where is the extra square footage? It would be important for me at least to know if we went to the maximum amount of signs allowable, where would that come from in terms of there's the current representation of the sign sizes. So what would be reduced to the photo we have here? Mm-hmm. Is that 42 square feet of signage?
It's actually 32.5.
I thought I heard 42, but
What's
okay.
up there currently
Yes. No, what's up? Yes, what's up there currently
is 32.
So square feet, yes. So it's 70 by 33.5 wide. So I just measured the sign as is and took it to the designer. And then the smaller signs, oh, I'm sorry. The smaller signs are 7.5 total. And that's total because they're double-sided.
So if we were to require that the total sign square footage be reduced to our maximum number, then some sign would need to be reduced in size, and where would that reduction come from?
So would that mean that the total for all 3 signs or just the one big sign?
Total signage.
Total signage, so yeah, it could come from so my recommendation was to have, I'm assuming you would want to maintain the large sign, because that one is the most prominent, and it's on the corner, you can see it from Broad Street. And that one, I would imagine, could be reduced to like a 5x2-ish size, so that's 10 square feet on each side, that's 20 square feet total. And then the smaller sign could be something like a 2x2, that's 4 square feet. And the commission could play around with that, you know, you could take a little bit more from the big sign and do something different with the smaller sign.
We can do that. I mean, if that's what we have to do, then that's what we have to do. We're you know, we agree with that. But I'm just wondering why, we don't know why that sign was approved or anything. I don't know. It's just because I've been just working with that size for the last month with the designer and the two smaller signs.
It sounds like no one knows why,
Excuse me, sorry.
and we apologize for that.
No, that's
Yeah,
okay. It's just-
or it didn't get approved
And they just did it.
And it just stayed, yeah.
Yeah.
Got put up.
and it just
Okay.
continues.
So the total of all three signs needs to be the 24, correct? 24 point something?
0.75.
Oh, 24. I have it just
24,
24.
or you could use the historical number, I suppose, the 24.75. And just to be clear, my recommendation was to go to the one large sign on the corner and then one smaller sign on the commercial street frontage. Or on the corner, you could have it hanging below. Let's look at the
Yes,
picture
there's
of the
one
way it is
hanging
right now.
below, and then there's one in front of our
Right.
door.
And this is the main entry, so this one makes sense to me that you'd want it on commercial right at the entry.
Yeah. And maybe not having that one.
This one, yeah.
Yeah,
And you'll be
since
keeping
the bigger
that,
one's above it anyway.
Yeah.
will you be keeping the same main entry?
Yes. Sometimes we'll open the side one where the bar area is. They said during the summertime, but as of now, it stays closed.
And you want 3 signs?
It would be nice, but I'd rather have the bigger sign be as big as I can make it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, other questions? No?
Nope.
Jim? Anything? Anybody? Michelle? Amy?
No, my questions.
All right. If there are no more questions, is there anyone in the public who'd like to comment on this item? Seeing no one, I'll bring it back for discussion. Anyone who would like to comment on this item? I'll chime in. I would like to stay within the guidelines. I think, this is my opinion, obviously you could modify that, but I think the option, as you were saying, having the big sign on the corner and the one near the entrance, I think is a good solution.
I agree. We can do that.
I also want to comment too that, thank you for working with Jessica on the changes to the design.
Of course, thank you, Jessica, so much.
Yeah,
It's
I-
nice to meet you as well. We've been talking back and forth a lot, or emailing.
Yeah, I find that much easier to improve. And I think it looks good too.
Thank you, thank you.
Go ahead.
Anyone else?
The modifications that you guys made were really, really good. I mean, so thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Amen to that. The color is much better. The gradients, gradient things look like they were made by modern printing technology.
Right, and I wasn't understanding exactly what she was saying to me when we were going back and forth, so she did help me with the
Yeah.
design itself.
And it is, of course, created by modern printing
Exactly,
technology, but
exactly.
our goal is for it to not, to passively not look like that. And so I like the design change very much. And I feel that the graphic is a little large, florid, detailed. I think this is just my opinion, and the commission, my fellow commissioners may or may not agree with me, but I would like to see a simpler graphic that conveys the spirit of Thailand in a less panoramic way. something a bit more symbolic. We do have logos showing up on signage around town. And it tends to be a little more contained and more subservient to the wording in the sign, whereas this scene rather dominates it. And that's just me. That would be my ask. But I'm just one member of a 5-member commission.
That is true.
Yes.
As we all are. Any other discussion from anyone?
I also thought about that. I went a little back and forth, Tom, because I had the same initial impression. I think that this is a good pullback from the complexity of the first sign as well. And also, my experience is that nothing in Thailand is that simple visually. So it's also in keeping with its origins. I wondered about what might be appropriate for, like, instead of a house with 4 palm trees, if there was something like maybe 1 or 2 images, if that's something that you'd consider, but also I think it is fine as is. The one comment I would offer is that in the signs that currently exist on the building, one of the benefits of them being as simple as they are is it's really clear where the building is. And if you're going to have to reduce the sign square footage, the way that the SOPA shows up currently in the sign, that's the big one that you can see from Broad Street, you're not going to be able to see this as crystal clear. I don't know if it's going to make a huge difference or not, but it's just something that I would offer for you to consider.
Okay.
But I am happy with it as is. I will accept it if that's where you want to go.
Any other discussion? I'll add, I also considered the detail and design, and I came down as Amy did. I thought it was acceptable. I thought it was appropriate for the business, and it felt consistent to me. Not exactly the same, but with some other ones that we have approved recently that were a little more, I don't want to say, a little more realistic in design than, or I guess simpler graphic in design, but still met our approval standard, so. Any other discussion? If not, would someone like to make a motion? Anyone?
I can put my glasses on and try.
All right.
So I move to, what page? Determine that the project is exempt from CEQA, approve the historical district sign application for SOPA House of Thai with A and B, and then the conditions of approval as laid out in the staff report.
I'll second.
And just to note, that includes the changes recommended regarding the area.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, we have an approval, motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Nye?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanmi?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cobden?
Yes.
Chair Brown?
Yes, motion passes.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Yeah.
I do have a quick question. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so with the smaller signs, maybe because they have to be smaller, if I took off the graphic and just had SOPA House of Thai, that would be okay? Or do I have to get it approved again? It'd be exactly the same, I would just take the house and the trees off, only for the smaller sign.
Conceptually, that's fine to me. Procedurally,
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Is Russ on? No. Where is that Russ?
I just thought about it now because we're saying those signs have to be different sizes now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense for that smaller
At
sign.
least the smaller sign have it without the graphic.
How about this? Maybe we can have, because I think this is legal, because it's still the same item and we're not changing anything that was in the packet. I would move that I would move to assign a liaison to this, who could review this. So in situations like this where there are some smaller details to be determined, a lot of times we will have a liaison, one of the planning commissioners, who will work with you just to, as you get your proposal for exactly what that looks like, to review and say if that is consistent with what we approved,
Okay.
or if that needs to come back to us for additional approval.
Okay, perfect.
So I guess, let me do this. I will make a motion that we allow the applicant to propose a change to the smaller sign with the assignment and review of the liaison. How's that?
Second.
All right, motion a second. Could we have a roll call on that, please?
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Knight?
Yes.
Commissioner Halimi?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cobden?
Yes.
Chair Brown?
Yes.
Who's that liaison?
I can do it.
Sean,
right.
Oh, unless you
excellent.
want to. You want to fight over it?
All right, Sean will be the liaison. So what you will do is,
Okay.
when you have your changes ready, you will work with Jessica, and Jessica will work to connect you. All
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, everybody.
right, thank you.
Hope to see you all there.
Congratulations.
And also, do you just send me something? Like, can I go ahead and start the
Yes.
project? Or do I have to wait for something?
I'll send you a conditional approval letter. You're officially approved right now, but
Okay.
I'll send you a letter with all of the conditions. And then there is a 15-day appeal period on all approvals. So if someone were to appeal, you're basically starting at your own risk within that first 15 days. I'm sure it will not.
Okay.
Seemed like
Really
there was
trying to get
opposition
this
to
going.
it. Just letting you know. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next item, 424 Pine Street, architecture review for window and door replacements and change of colors outside the historical district. Is the applicant here for this item?
So maybe online.
Howie?
It might be Howie.
Howie, you can talk if you'd like.
I'm here.
Okay, great, thank you. All right,
Okay.
Jessica.
Yes, so this is, again, architectural review for whole house window replacement at 424 North Pine. Now, this is a historic photograph of the home. It is on the 1898 maps and is located outside the historical district. The architectural review application proposes replacing all of the existing wood windows, 30 in total, in the residence, with new double-hung aluminum clad exterior, dual pane windows with wood interior from the Sierra Pacific Westchester series. Also, one of the windows by the upstairs balcony right here is proposed to be converted to a dual tempered French door in the color mocha, which is very similar to the other colors on the windows, with a traditional with classic escutcheon hardware and an oil rubbed bronze finish. The proposal does include new exterior trim and matching siding if needed for repairs at each window. These are some photographs of the materials. The applicant's also proposing to change the paint colors. Color changes outside the historical district don't normally go to planning commission. It's ministerial, so this is just for your reference since we're looking at the windows as well. Staff would approve these ministerially though, so there is no planning commission action on that. It's just for your reference. This is a pre-World War II building, so again, there is this municipal code section that says that deteriorated features should be repaired rather than replaced where possible. And again, in this instance, not possible. And it is, retaining the existing wood windows would result in long-term energy inefficiency as well, and maintenance issues for the owner. So these are, like I mentioned, aluminum clad windows. They are, and I think I mentioned this before on the fiberglass, but the design guidelines also state that clad windows are potentially appropriate for pre-World War II structures as well, if they meet the same profile as wood windows, which these do. So regarding converting the balcony window to a French door, the applicant indicates that It has always been a window with a 1-foot-high panel below the window. So they have stepped out onto the balcony through that window, but converting it to a French door would create a more functional experience for them. And it is, let me show that photograph one more time of where it is. So it's not highly visible from the street as it is within this kind of enclosed balcony up at the top, but it is on the street side. Okay, so staff is recommending that the Planning Commission find the project exempt and approve the architectural review application for the window and door replacement at this location with the attached conditions of approval, making findings A through D. That's
Great.
it.
Thank you. Howie, is there anything you would like to add to Jessica's presentation?
No, she covered everything that we're planning on doing. My only question is, and I believe she answered it for me, was if we have all the windows approved and they can afford to do one set of windows now, later when they have the money, can we do another set of windows with the same approval?
Jessica,
Can
you
I
wanna
answer
comment?
that? Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. Yes, so under the municipal code, you have 2 years to complete the project. And if you need an extension, that can be granted by the Planning Commission for up to 1 year per extension for 5 years. So
Okay.
hopefully if they can, I think we had talked about this on the phone, and that originally the application was only for 6 windows. The applicant wants to do it in pieces and phases, but we're hoping to use this approval moving forward for all of the windows.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Great, thank you. Are there questions about this from the commission? Questions from anyone?
Yes. Hi there. Is your intent to duplicate the existing trim details if there are any necessary replacements in trim?
Yes, I have a mill that I can match the trim exactly to whatever we need to repair.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, is there anyone in the public who'd like to comment on this item? Seeing no one, bring it back to the commission for discussion. Any discussion from anyone?
Looks great. The house needs a paint job, so that's great. It's a beautiful place.
It is.
The
It's a
colors
really
work
beautiful
really
house.
well with the window cladding. So thanks for that context.
Yes, most of the houses need painting. We have the job right across the street as well, but finding the painters is the issue.
It's hard
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And who wouldn't want that French door on that balcony?
Well, it's not a usable balcony, but they do go out there every now and then, and to get out there, they have to lift the window and remove the panel and crawl under the upper sash just to go out there, so it just make it easier to go out the French door.
Gorgeous.
Are you the sailor during Halloween? Is that you?
No, I'm a general contractor.
Oh, you're there.
Yeah, they do quite the Halloween show there.
I do have one question. The window product is designed as a textured finish. What is the texture? Can you describe it?
It's just not solid smooth, it has a little texture or a little roughness to it, so it doesn't look shiny. It has some texture and feeling to it, so it looked more painted than it does a shiny metal.
Good, yeah, thanks. That's what I suspected, but I wanted to double check that with you. Thanks.
And the earlier question on the earlier project about true divided light and simulated divided light, is true divided light is extremely expensive, and most of the time it's not an insulated glass, where simulated divided light is more of a thermal barrier and a better insulated window.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Thanks.
Any other discussion on this item?
Down here.
None? All right, would someone like to make a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion, but you gotta, where is it exactly?
Let's see here.
There it is. I'll make a motion to find the project exempt from CEQA pursuant to the Public Resources Code, and to approve the architectural review application for the window and door replacement with the attached conditions of approval, making the following findings A through D, and with the conditions of approval A through D.
Great.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Nye?
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cubden?
Yes.
Chair Brown?
Yes. Great. Motion passes. All right.
Thanks, Howie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next item, which I believe there's been a request for continuance, 514 Nevada Street, because the applicant could not be here due to medical reasons. Is there anything more to say other than that?
Not
All
right
right, I'll move that I guess we have to have a motion to continue it.
Yes.
All right, I'll move that we continue this item.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Motion passes. Okay, next item is 431 Broad Street tree removal permit. It's the applicant here for 431 Broad Street. Great, come on up, have a seat.
Okay, so we're moving into tree removal applications. Now we have 3 of them. This property is in the historical district at the 2 Room Inn on 431 Broad Street, just on the downhill side of the Methodist Church. So this is on the other side. The applicant is proposing to remove 4 trees. 2 are right up against the foundation of the building. There are 2 cottonwoods, and then there's 2 black walnuts as well that are partly in the right-of-way, to be honest, and the roots are possibly lifting the structure. So we do have a municipal code section that states that if 20% or more of trees are removed within a 5-year period, it must be referred to the Planning Commission. And so you can see in your staff report that there are a number of criteria that we need to look at in order to evaluate whether that much tree removal is necessary for a reasonable use of the property. In this particular case, it's 4 out of what staff counted as 11 trees over 10 inches diameter at breast height on the site, so a little bit over 20%. And this project does meet the criteria for tree removal, particularly with regard to the fact that that property is very small. It's only 1/10 of an acre and really not suited for many large trees. And then the trees themselves are uprooting the foundation of the structure as well. So it does meet our criteria for removal. These are the trees requested for removal. It's these 2 in the front that you can see they're just growing right out of the wall that's right up against the street. And then there's 2 more right up against the structure itself. They're actually right behind the front 2. So there's 4 in this location. There are, like I mentioned, 7 other trees on this property that are over 10 inches diameter at breast height, including there's a tree here. There's another, what I think is a black locust on the corner as well, and then there's a very large cedar right behind this. You can see it in this photograph. So staff is recommending that the Planning Commission find the project exempt from CEQA and approve the tree removal application, making finding A with all of the sub-findings and with the recommended conditions of approval.
Great, thank you. Anything you'd like to add to that?
I do not. She did great.
All right, excellent. Questions from the commission? Anyone? Amy, is that it?
Kind of, yeah. I'm just having a moment of confusion because I'm looking at the black walnuts, and for a second, I wondered if they were a tree of heaven, but I'm gonna trust your knowledge on this one. To finish that thought, I was asking myself why someone would leave tree of heaven out of this project, but that's because they're not tree of heaven, they're black walnut. Thanks for coming with me on that ride. Okay.
Any other questions to yourself or otherwise? All right, if no one has any questions, is there anyone in the public who would like to comment on this item? I see one person.
Matthew Coulter, Nevada County. Having a hard time hearing you guys in the back, and I went onto YouTube, and the sound is good on YouTube, but as far as in the chambers, it's difficult. My comment's related to the time of year that we're removing trees, because what I'm finding is a lot of nests on the ground and dead baby birds after these type of things have gone during nesting season. As we do remove trees, and I'm a tree lover, want to save trees, but I understand as I just look out the window that we need 50% of these trees removed like yesterday, because we're just so overgrown and so impacted. So my comment is the right trees need to be removed versus any tree, because I'm seeing a lot of historic trees that aren't in danger of falling, aren't in danger of falling on a house, but they're being removed anyway, just because I understand it's less maintenance to have your property completely sterilized corner to corner. And that's what's happening with a lot of the new purchases in town, are the people are sterilizing their properties corner to corner. That's the trend. It's been going on for years in Texas as well as the Bay Area, and just is less maintenance. But our town is kind of built on hands-on stuff, so if we're going to try to get rid of our environment for the sake of less maintenance, we'll never meet that task. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Matthew. Anyone else who'd like to comment on this item? Seeing no one, is there discussion from the commission? No? Amy?
I don't think so. I suppose that does raise a question, when would the tree removal, I haven't asked this before, but what are our rules about tree removal and bird and squirrel nests?
I believe there's
Surveys.
a migratory bird compliance within the permit.
Well, generally, I know that in my previous work supervising tree removals, that there is a requirement typically to have a biologist scan the trees for any signs of bird nests or otherwise. Is that something that you would do?
I'm not a biologist. I can look for nests or anything like that. I can bring some binoculars out and see if there are nests to check for that.
What are the
Yeah.
code requirements
Yeah,
on
what are
this?
code requirements?
There are no requirements in our municipal code about nesting birds, but there is a standard condition of approval. You can see it's number 2. Any tree work shall avoid impacts to nesting birds under the Federal Migratory Bird Treaty Act. And then these conditions are provided to the applicant with a handout, and that is attached to the staff packet and will be attached to the conditions of approval as well, just to provide applicants with information on it. I would agree with you in all of my past work as well on projects that typically, for large projects, if there are a lot of trees being removed or there's a development project, there's always a requirement for a biologist to do a pre-construction nesting survey. But we have not typically done that in the city, and it's not in our municipal code. All people who work to remove nests sometimes People who are maintaining buildings take out swallow nests. That's actually federally illegal, and we're not supposed to be doing that. Everybody is supposed to comply with this Migratory Bird Treaty Act, whether or not it's a discretionary project or a real construction project, or you're just removing trees. So it's something to be aware of. Don't take a tree down if there's a nest in it, or wait for them to fledge the nest.
Yeah, or wait until the end of August.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a rush on this tree removal? Can it be, sorry to go back to questions, can it wait until August?
I don't know. I'd have to talk to the homeowner or the property owner.
I am inclined to put that into the conditions of approval. Is that, how do other people feel about that?
Other comments from the commission?
I mean, I feel good about that.
So, have we done that before? I mean, we have several
I
other.
think she's talking about doing something different this time.
Yeah, I have never witnessed us do that before.
So if we do it this time, we're kind of,
So,
to be fair, we have to do it in general.
Correct, and also I would argue that we are being rather lax when it comes to tree removal compared to larger systems at work, and perhaps I'm assuming that that is because usually these don't come up in mass throughout nesting season for all kinds of reasons. There are also other reasons why you wouldn't want to remove trees during the summer. But this would, you're correct to infer that this would be pushing towards changing municipal code, which I don't know, too bad Russ isn't here.
Well, the condition of approval number 2 is not in the municipal code. So it would potentially, there are a couple of options, like you said. There's either, usually with mitigation measures that are done for CEQA documents, there's an option to either remove the trees outside of nesting season, which is usually mid-March through mid-August, or sometimes I've seen it up to September. Or if you can't avoid nesting season, then you hire a biologist to do a nesting survey.
I want to clarify though, condition number 2 is not a municipal code, it's a federal requirement.
Exactly.
Therefore, we are
It is.
still
Yes.
subject to that requirement.
Yes.
Obligated, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll give my thoughts, and that is, we have that requirement in there. And, you know, and this is true in general about things that are in our code or in federal code or otherwise, you know, we expect people to comply with that. And so I would rely on that here. If we think there are changes that are necessary to that we need to be more strict, we could recommend such to the council to make changes in our code. But at this time, you know, I have the same concerns, but we do have something in here that addresses that, and I think that is appropriate.
I agree in my assumption, my belief, since that language is already in the staff report as a recommended condition of approval, our due diligence has been done because our job is to consider my assumption is that those considerations have been handled by this staff, by this condition of approval, and our considerations are, you know, impact to the property and impact to the neighborhood as a whole.
And I'd also add, you know, as a planning commission, we are a quasi-judicial body, right? We're judging on how things apply to code, you know, and to our guidelines and other things. We're not setting policy, you know, we're not legislative, and that is the role of the council. And so I would leave that to them. You know, we are looking to see that things meet, you know, all of our code, all of our guidelines, and I feel that is appropriate here, and that has been done here.
Thanks, everyone.
Sure.
Thank you.
Good discussion. Any other discussion? If not, would someone like to make a motion? Anyone? I will make a motion to approve this tree removal permit with the following actions: determining that the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act as specified in the staff recommendation, to approve the tree removal application as subject to the conditions of approval A with subsections 1 through 8, and the conditions of approval, I should say. Yeah, I think that's right. Making sure I'm reading this correctly. So conditions of approval 1 through 4 and parts A with subsections 1 through 8 of the tree removal application. Did I cover that?
Yes.
All right. There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Great. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Knight?
Yes.
Commissioner Hadamy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cobden?
Yep.
Chair Brown?
Yes. It's approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Going on to our next item, which is the tree removal at 331 Brock Street. Excellent. Have a seat. Welcome. Okay, Jessica.
Okay, thanks. Okay. So this property is in the residential neighborhood on Brock Street. The applicant proposes to remove 3 trees in the front of his property. There's a 48-inch diameter at breast height ponderosa pine, 47-inch pine, and a 48-inch cedar. And the reasons provided for these trees are the root systems are damaging the driveway and pose a threat to the foundation. Large limbs are routinely breaking and falling near the entryway and parked vehicles. There are maintenance issues, and there's some concern that one of the trees is leaning towards the applicant's home, and another tree is leaning towards the neighbor's home. This is a 1/3 of an acre site with a total of 7 trees over 10 inches diameter at breast height. So removal of these trees would result in the removal of 43% of the trees over 10 inches diameter at breast height on the site. And these trees do appear to be some of the largest on the property. There may be a black oak at the back that's larger. And so the same analysis applies to this site as the previous one. And going through the criteria, this project does meet the criteria, particularly for in terms of the common trees. These are common within city limits. And there are, as you can see, many other trees remaining in the area. And what else? The property owner is stating that the property is incapable of supporting these trees, in particular in this location. It has a larger backyard, but these are in the front of the property. And there is not a very large setback on the front. So it really is constraining the front of the property, and he has already had to replace his driveway because of the trees. So staff is not recommending that the Planning Commission use the criteria for maintenance and upkeep as a reason for removal, because that's not listed in the criteria. But there are other reasons that can support this application, and those I've already gone over. So staff is recommending, as well, that to be consistent with the municipal code policies to preserve trees to the extent possible, that the applicant replace these large trees with some smaller trees, which he agreed that he would like to do with something like a dogwood or other type of smaller ornamental tree that still provides some shade and aesthetic benefits on the street. So staff is recommending that the Planning Commission exempt the project from CEQA and approve this application, making the same findings. A, subsections 1 through 8, with the conditions of approval shown. There's an additional condition, like I mentioned, that on this one, that the applicant will mitigate for the loss of each tree with 1 5-gallon tree minimum, and that the tree can be selected from the NID Waterwise landscaping list or is otherwise approved by the city planner. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Anything you'd like to add? No? All right. Questions from the commission? Anyone?
I have a question probably for Jessica. The replacement trees, is is the installation of them verified with you to complete that permit?
Yes.
Is there a
Yeah,
verification
yeah,
process?
yes.
Okay.
My question is, have you decided which trees you would use to replace?
That's not part of my,
Oh, you're representing the homeowner?
yeah.
Okay, got it.
The homeowner did tell me he would like a dogwood or something similar to a dogwood, so,
Okay.
yeah.
I have a comment based on the answer.
Are there other questions at this point, though? No other questions? Anyone in the public who'd like to comment on this item? Seeing no one, I'll bring it back for comment. Amy?
Comment to the owner, it would simply be, please be very mindful of the height of the tree that's expected to be achieved and where you place it with respect to the power line. We don't want to have to talk about this again in 25 years.
It's not,
We won't be here, right? This will not be my legacy.
Maybe you.
I'll be here.
Based on the trees that he's wanting to remove, I think that's in consideration.
Well,
Great, thank you.
no sequoias.
Good call.
Any other discussion?
No.
Tom?
No.
Oh, no, that was a no. Okay. Sean?
No.
No. Would someone like to make a motion on this item?
I'll move to approve this tree removal application, finding the project exempt from CEQA, and to approve the tree removal, making finding A with subsections 1 through 8. What else? And conditions of approval 1 through 5.
Great. You have a motion? I will second the motion. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Knight?
Yes.
Commissioner Hadamy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cobden?
Yes.
Chair Brown?
Yes. Motion passes. Great. Thank you.
Those are big trees. Good luck.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Exactly.
I'm here for the next one too.
Oh, excellent. All right, well, how appropriate. All right, the next one is 788 Nevada Street tree removal permit.
Okay. So this one, I also had some additional information come in after Friday. So there's an updated memo on this one, and I think I will just start with the updated memo. And so essentially, this one it's right across the street from
Northridge.
Yes, thank you, Northridge. The property has like a light business zoning district on it, has some commercial type structures, but it sounds like there's a lot of folks living out there actually. So that does come into play with the recommendations because people are living out there in the structures. So on this project proposal, this is to remove 16 trees. And the updated memo just has the additional reasons that were provided for some of the trees that I didn't have reasons for before. So the reasons are varied depending on which tree it is. Most of the trees are pines. There's one cedar. One of the trees is quite clearly dead if you look at it. Another one is dying. There's a couple with split tops. And then we have a number that are leaning over neighbors' structures and structures on the property. They're, growing too tightly together. There's too much competition for them. And then some growing on a steep cut bank and are leaning towards a structure. So these trees, 16 trees is more than I think we've seen since I've started, but there are a total of 73 trees on this property, over 10 inches diameter at breast height. So this only represents 22% of the trees over 10 inches diameter on the site. And then there's a number of other trees that are under 10 inches diameter at breast height. So this is you can see from the aerial photograph, it's pretty heavily treed right now. And that most of the trees being requested for removal kind of encircle this large building in the back here. So staff went through the criteria again for this particular project, same as the last one, the proposed trees for removal are common within city limits. The property is developed with multiple structures, so even though it's over an acre in size, there are, like I mentioned, a number of residential uses. I'm going to go back up to this aerial. There's a house here at the front. This appears to be occupied by folks, and then there's a couple of other structures up here as well, and then some neighbors to the west there. So it meets that criteria that, you know, they're growing a little too close to that structure as well, and trees within 30 feet of structures are generally frowned upon unless there is a lot of space between the crowns. So staff is recommending for this project as well that the Planning Commission approve the project, determining that the project is exempt from CEQA, and approve the tree removal application with the findings shown and the conditions of approval shown. And I am not recommending on this one that there is any mitigation in terms of replacing these trees. There are already probably too many trees on the property. The only additional mitigation in here is if the stumps were masticated on the cut bank, that just some erosion control be placed there, which could just be wood chips if you're chipping on site. Otherwise, you can use certified weed-free straw or some other material. That's it.
Great. Anything to add? No? Questions from the commission on this one?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Will there be other mitigations not listed, like limbing of remaining trees?
She spent a lot of money on limbing within the last 2 years,
Okay,
even the ones that we're removing,
okay.
but they've outgrown their space, and concrete, cut banks, lean.
You don't need to,
Yeah.
that's fine. I'm just thinking about what's left behind and,
It's a big project for her to undertake this, and then I'm assuming next year be doing some limbing around the other structures.
and will you be doing any chipping in place?
Yes.
Okay, great.
All right, other questions?
Yeah, I'm just curious along in the image we're looking at, the aerial view, if along the property line on the right or left, are any of those stems on the neighboring property?
No.
They're right on the line,
Yeah, it's,
or so it seems.
yeah, so the canopies are so big. But yeah, essentially, there's a fence beyond the trees that represents a property line. And so, you know, I'm assuming that they're her trees.
Right. I was just curious. I don't think it changes
'Cause I don't
anything.
think she'd want to be paying for them if they weren't.
Well, that's true. I'm just wondering if there are any left along that line.
Oh, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
The
For like screening or something like that.
No, there's a few smaller ones in there, but mostly the 5 on the left there there won't be anything there. Yeah, and if you went and saw it, you would understand why, but it really shouldn't be. It's really tight.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
And then I would also note, I went out and did a site visit because I also had some concerns about the trees being too close to the property line, and I wondered if they were within the property, and we looked at the fencing, and they are all on the property. I think what happens with these aerial maps, and this is taken from the county's GIS system, is the parcel layer gets shifted in a lot of cases. So, and you can kind of see in this case, usually you can tell if the driveways don't line up with the lines, and this one, it is shifted over a little bit here, like at the bottom. So the line actually is over here.
Yeah, and some of the canopies that you see on the left there are his trees.
Right.
That will
like
remain.
this.
Right, okay.
Another quick question. This is very nitpicky, so I apologize. Don't want to tell you how to do your job. Will someone be ensuring that any trees infected with beetle are not chipped in place?
They will most definitely have to be chipped in place.
The beetle rot trees.
Yeah, there's only one, and to determine whether it's beetles or not, I didn't see signs of beetles. What I saw is damage to the tree via multiple satellite dishes and some metal posts that are in it,
Okay.
and also just poor root system.
Okay.
Other, one second, or sorry, are you the applicant or?
Just a clarification to Chairman Nye's question, or Commissioner Nye's question regarding the boundary lines. One thing you guys need to remember, and by the way, John Baker, Nevada City Engineering, those boundary lines are drawn by GIS. I've found those to be as far as 35 or 40 feet out of position over time, so
Yeah.
Yeah, I
take
think
all
that's
of
what
that with
Jessica
a
was
grain of
alluding
salt.
to. Yeah, thank you. All right, other questions? Jim, did you have something?
Well, yeah, just, I guess for Jessica, since it's in the local business district with the scenic corridor combining district, just sort of just as a general information question, is that when you went out and checked the site, and, you know, looking at the photo, it doesn't look like, it looks like the, you know, the screening is covered, that is that what you look at? I mean, if it's within the scenic corridor?
Yeah, the scenic corridor overlay has a requirement that you're not allowed to clear vegetation within 50 feet of the scenic corridor. So that would be 50 feet measured out from this property line. I wouldn't consider this clearing necessarily. I think if a lot of trees were being removed in here, we would probably ask to minimize that a little bit. But I know that, like, the dead tree, I think, is this one back here. Is that correct, Tom? And then there was at least one that was dying back in here, and then some split tops as well. So those seemed to be needed for removal, and then there are still a number of remaining trees in the back here. You can see that not every tree is being removed within 50 feet. So that's how I would interpret
There are
yeah.
hundreds of trees just north of that picture
Yeah.
on that line. I mean, they are terrible, but there's a bunch of them there.
Yeah, it's very thick within the Caltrans right-of-way right here, but I think we can all agree that Caltrans sometimes just removes all the trees within their right-of-way, so we probably do need to be careful about maintaining that buffer within private property, but in this particular case, it seemed reasonable.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? Anyone? No? Anyone from the public who'd like to comment on this item? No? Discussion among the commission? No?
No.
Someone-
Aside from, thanks for that really clear, you know, info and your personal investigation. That's it. It's like concerning, and my concerns have been addressed.
Great. Any other discussion? Would someone like to make a motion? Jim?
I'll read it. I'll make a motion that the planning commission take the following actions: determine the project exempt from CEQA, approve the tree removal application with the recommended changes recommended by staff. The changes with,
Sorry.
I'm reading the wrong one?
Yeah, can you read the updated memo?
Okay.
Thanks.
Which is,
You want to read it off mine?
I'll read it off yours. Approve the tree removal application as may be modified at making the following findings and subject to the conditions of the approval listed below, that the removal of the trees is necessary for the reasonable use of the property, meet the following criteria, 1 through 8, and that with the following conditions of approval, that the 1 through 5.
All right. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Nye?
Yes?
Commissioner Hadamy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cobden?
Yes.
Chair Brown?
Yes. Motion passes. Great. Thank you. Oh, I got that
A
wrong.
lot of smaller trees, good luck.
Yeah.
They're pretty big too. Be fun.
Not 47 inches though,
36 is no slouch
no slouch.
when it's 100 feet tall.
Okay, our next item is 371 Road Ave. Site plan review, architecture review, and tree removal. Applicants could come forward, have a seat. Feel free to pull up another chair as well. Great, thank you for coming. Jessica?
Okay, thank you. All right, this is an application by Rhett Moore for Comfort Plumbing. And as you mentioned, it's for an architectural review with tree removal and site improvement plans. And we've also got some lighting plans and landscape plans to look at as well. In 2018, this project site, which is at 371 Railroad Avenue, was approved for a site plan to develop a metal storage building that was indicated for personal use by the owner at that time, not the current applicant. That owner received an exception to landscaping and parking standards due to the personal use of the property, so those are not currently in place. And now Mr. Moore has acquired the property and would like to convert it, the metal storage building, to offices and storage space for his plumbing company. The zoning code requires that all site plans be reviewed by the Advisory Review Committee and recommended for approval to the Planning Commission prior to going to Planning Commission. The applicant did go to the ARC in 2023. At that time, the ARC did not provide a recommendation and requested some changes. The applicant came back with those changes at the beginning of this year, 2026. And showed the ARC a new landscape plan, a tree removal application, a photometric plan, and an updated site plan that shows less paving at the driveway encroachments. The ARC at that time unanimously voted to recommend approval of the project to the Planning Commission. And there were some additional questions that the ARC had about. One was about parking, whether overflow could be gravel. The answer to that is yes. Primary parking needs to be paved per the municipal code, but not overflow. And at that time, the ARC had determined that only 8 spaces were adequate or were needed for this proposed use. The landscape buffer, there was a question about where that was measured from, and it is 15 feet from the edge of what is going to be the new sidewalk. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. And then the other thing to note is there are a couple of other projects on Railroad Avenue to bring to your attention if you don't know about them already. One is a new sidewalk going in on Railroad. And the other that is trying to be built right now, but still needs to go through through PUC review, the Public Utilities Commission, is a railroad project on Railroad Avenue, an actual railroad. So that's happening. And then the property just north of Mr. Moore's property, it looks like that's also going to come in for a development permit here in a minute. So this property is zoned light industrial, which is it's compatible with the use that's being proposed. The majority of the property right now is largely devoid of vegetation. There's one paved encroachment right now in a gravel parking area. There's a thick canopy of trees along the southeast boundary that would remain in place with the exception of any fire maintenance that needs to be done. The site's relatively flat as well, so there's not really too much in the way of topographic issues. And then it's surrounded by light industrial north and south, and then has residential backing up just a little bit. I'm gonna blow this up so you can see it. There's actually a very, very steep cut bank along this boundary here that backs up to this subdivision, and I think it's about 40 feet high. It's very, very high. And so you cannot see this property as far as I know. I haven't been into this backyard, but the usual buffer requirements that would be needed are not needed in staff's opinion in this case from that residential. So the proposed project is for Comfort Plumbing's base of operations and involves interior tenant improvements to convert to office and storage, like I mentioned. Exterior improvements would include removing and adding some windows and doors and constructing 2 door canopies, and site plan improvements to convert the existing building into office spaces, bathrooms, and interior storage. So there'd be 1,886 square feet of office space on the 2nd and 3rd floors. Right now, it's just one large building on the inside. There's no 2nd and 3rd floors. Those would be added with the tenant improvements. And then a new encroachment is also proposed on Railroad Avenue for that 2nd driveway looping in. It's a horseshoe driveway with the existing one. The parking lot would be asphalted, 8 parking stalls added for 4 employees, consistent with ARC recommendations. Very limited public visits to the office are anticipated. Water and sewer utilities would need to be added. And then some outdoor storage is also anticipated to occur. We may have talked about this at ARC, but there potentially could be some work truck parking, heavy construction equipment storage, and material storage at times. And I've already gone over that. So there is a lighting plan. There are 3 pole lights proposed in the parking lot. And as well, there's also, 3 wall-mounted lights shown on the existing building. All of the pole lights and the wall-mounted lights are required to be less than 14 feet in height per the municipal code. They must be shielded, and there cannot be any light pollution onto adjoining properties. And the photometric plan that was provided shows there is no light pollution, nothing over 1 foot candle on adjoining properties. And there are a number of other conditions on lighting as well that are included with the staff approval, including color temperature, consistent with dark sky principles. The applicant is proposing screening consistent with the municipal code that requires all outside storage in this district to be within a completely fenced area. And the code says solid fence 6 feet high. Doesn't specify the materials. And so the applicant's proposing, I believe it's this type of fencing. You can correct me, okay? Yeah. Because I know we just talked about it on the phone. And so this is kind of, privacy screening. I'm assuming it's this UV treated high density polyethylene mesh netting that provides like 85 to 90% visibility blockage. And so these screens can be added to, currently there's already a chain link fence on the site. This is not the site, but it would look something similar to this. There's already a chain link fence, so that would just be added to the existing chain link fence. Staff is recommending, is we don't have guidelines on commercial and industrial fencing, but given that there is going to be a public sidewalk and this potential railroad project, which would bring visitors to the area, staff would recommend that the commission consider a more permanent solid type of fence. It is more costly to do slats or wood and that type of solid fencing, so that's a consideration. But the entire property is not required to be fenced in this manner. It's just from the public right-of-way. The landscape plan shows landscaping along Railroad. Here's the plan. So you can see here the horseshoe driveway, and then there's actually some additional parking over here. There's existing native vegetation just covering this entire southeast area. And then where this may end up being modified a little bit because of the sidewalk project, but like I said, it would be about 15 feet on average back from the back of curb of the new sidewalk. Okay, and so there are a lot of plants required for this project if we use all of the all of the calculations on all of the factors provided in the municipal code. There would be, let's see, a total of 176 ground cover plants, 60 shrubs, 18 understory trees, and 30 canopy trees within just these two areas here, because this is already covered in native vegetation. And so staff has spoken with the applicant about this, and the property is going to be, it's required to be screened from public view. So there's a little bit of a conundrum. There's solid fencing required, and then there's a lot of landscaping required also. So the question is, how does the fence interact with the landscaping? There's nothing in the code that tells us that the fence needs to be behind the landscaping or vice versa, but the applicant has requested a reduction in the number of plants due to the fact that it will all be screened. So that is something for the Planning Commission to consider. Staff is fine with doing that, provided, I mean, there are a lot of, for example, ground cover plants that spread quite a bit, and shrubs that can grow large, and so those numbers could potentially be reduced in the final landscape plan if we can get something from an actual, landscape architect that could show us the final size of those plants. So that would be the recommendation. Parking stalls, again, those were recommended to be 8 by the Planning Commission, and there'd be some overflow there too. I mentioned that there's an existing chain link fence. It has barbed wire on top. It generally follows a property boundary. Right now, it comes out into the right-of-way in parts, and it's still shown on the site plan in the right-of-way. It's going to need to be removed, according to our Public Works Director. So that will have to be moved back onto the property and out of the right-of-way with the project. So that would happen with the final site plan that would be submitted and prior to construction and tenant improvements. Trash and recycling facilities, they're not shown on site plan because there will just be small residential containers that will be stored inside the building. Tree removal, there's been some modifications to this in the last week. The city's been out there working on the sidewalk project, and a lot of trees have been removed. So quite possibly there may be a lot of trees that you don't need to remove. Are there any?
We're down to 2.
You're only up or down 2, okay. I hadn't had time to go out there, so.
The 2 on-site ones, everything
To get
else.
an update on that. They are smallish pine trees. They're 6 to 16 inches. They're still protected by the code, but they're fairly small, all things considered. And that this removal is needed for the new encroachment mostly. Okay, architectural review. Let's see here. So the project I mentioned before, there's no expansion of the existing structure and not too many modifications to the exterior of the structure, a lot of interior improvements. On the outside, you can see the comparison here with the western elevation, more windows being added and some additional, one additional door on the western elevation. And then on the southern elevation, more windows. So generally some additional windows and doors, and they're keeping the existing colors. And I believe you said the windows would be, the framing would be white. Is that correct, or black? Okay, black, thank you. So staff is in support of these changes. They would enhance the attractiveness of the building by breaking up the massing with these additional features and provide protective awning for employees and staff coming in and out. The project is consistent with the municipal code, and there is a discussion of that in here, as well as with the general plan. Staff did run through the categorical exemption guidelines for this project because there are site plan improvements involved. It is already a cleared site and it's level, so there is not much in the way of ground disturbance that's needed for this. So all of the discussion and findings for the CEQA exemption are provided in the staff report. I'm happy to go over any of these, but I don't know that I need to discuss it unless you have any questions about it. In conclusion, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission find the project exempt, approve the site plan review, approve the tree removal application, and the architectural review with the recommended conditions of approval shown in the staff report.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anything you would like to add to that presentation?
No, I think, thank you, Jessica, for that presentation. I think you touched on the fact that tree removal has already taken place for the new sidewalk along the northerly edge of Railroad Avenue, which extends from nearly the easterly entrance to this project all the way down to the end of the existing sidewalk in front of the old Nevada City Auto Building, near where the current exhibit for the Railroad Museum is there on Railroad Avenue. As part of that construction, the pine trees that were included in the tree removal permit, I believe all of them were removed already as part of the sidewalk construction project. So we're down to 2 trees which are on site. One of which is a madrone tree, the other is a cedar tree.
Okay, thank you. Anything else you guys like to add? No? Sure.
Yeah, Robert Wallace, the architect. Just here to answer questions that you guys that may come up. So,
Great, thank you.
yeah, we're pleased to be here.
All right, questions. Actually, I'm going to start off with a question. I wasn't clear on the fencing requirement. Is that for the entire property frontage or just like the material storage area? Could you explain that more?
The requirement in the code is for any outdoor storage to be completely enclosed.
So
It says completely enclosed in the,
sorry, that's the storage area. It's not the
Yes.
entire frontage of the entire property, correct?
no. So actually there could be a separate secondary enclosure on the inside that could occur. Yes.
So if I may clarify, the current proposal is essentially for the storage of vehicles, be that, a dump truck, a trailer, potentially a tractor, something like that, all of which are licensed vehicles that can travel on the highway. They could leave the site at any point in time. There's no current plans for storage of materials exterior of the building. So, does a vehicle parked in the parking lot that is legally registered to be on the highway, does that classify as storage? I don't know.
That's a good question.
Yes, it is a good question. So I did a little research on this because it's not very clear in our municipal code, as you can imagine. And but generally, contractor storage, it has to do with outdoor storage, contractor storage yards. Anytime there are a number of vehicles, if they're work vehicles, if they're heavy equipment types of vehicles, even if there's no other material storage on the site, that's generally considered as part of a normal contractor storage yard use. So that is what normally would need to be fenced. And I think I talked to Mr. Moore about this. I think if you're just parking a couple of work trucks out there during the day, that's something completely different. Or if, once in a while you have something out there, or a couple of vehicles, but I think if it turns into a big parking lot full of work trucks and heavy equipment, that's the type of thing that the city would want to see screened.
We need to shield our eyes from industrial detritus.
So if we were to put the privacy screening up, would I still have to do the landscaping on the other side of the privacy screening? Because you wouldn't be able to see it.
That's the question.
And in between the privacy screening and the sidewalk is, what, 15 to 20 feet, and that's in the public right-of-way.
It's in the public right-of-way, and one of the conditions of approval is that no private facilities be built within the public right-of-way.
Yes.
Shoot.
And yet your municipal code says that the landscaping shall take place from the back of sidewalk to 15 feet from the back of sidewalk, which in this case is within the public right-of-way. So
Have you asked for a variance on that yet? Is that within?
They would be coming to us if they did.
On which one? The
Well,
privacy screening
no,
or the
thanks,
landscape?
yeah.
Or the-
Let me rephrase the question. Did the possibility for asking for a variance come up in the past 3 years?
Well, this exact situation was discussed at ARC.
I vaguely remember being there.
Yes.
And I remember going back and forth quite a bit.
Yeah, we went back and forth quite a bit over several different issues about, what can and cannot be constructed within the public right-of-way of Railroad Avenue. The current proposal is for all of the landscaping to be within the applicant's property. So from the property line to a depth of 15 feet where we can meet it. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, but on average, we're 15 feet just because of the configuration of the driveway and various other features shown on the site plan. But with this requirement for screening, there's no convenient area for the applicant to park his work vehicles and have a separate contained fence area. So that would require a screened fencing along the entire frontage of Railroad Avenue, which is several hundred feet long. And, if it needs to be a solid wood fence, that is cost prohibitive. And in the realm of fire insurance, fire safe regulations and all of that, wood fences are rather frowned on these days.
That's it, the requirement isn't for wood fence, it's for a solid fence.
It has to be a solid
Which
fence.
could be metal, which is also not cheap too. I
Solid
understand.
fences are
Who
not
wants to
cheap
look
one
at
way or
a
the
shiny
other.
metal?
Right.
I have another question, a follow-up question. I wonder if we discussed at the time and if it might be a feasible compromise to plant something like jasmine or camellias or boxwood or other plants that could solve both the landscaping and the fence issue along the fence line and give it a grace period to grow in.
So you're proposing basically a solid hedge along the front.
Asking a question, technically,
To
but,
grow on the existing fence in the city right away, or either side wouldn't really matter, would it?
don't jump ahead of. I am asking the question, is it feasible, would it be within reason to propose planting something like a spreading vine like jasmine, which is very low maintenance, city loves it, and spreads out quite well. It does really well in this environment, that could climb up the fence and block your terrible view from innocent eyes.
I think the planning commission could probably make a finding that that substantially conforms to the intent of that code.
It would take some time to grow, but
There just need to be maybe some provision for maintenance to make sure that it's there and it's maintained and irrigated.
yeah, a drip irrigation system for that would be
So
extraordinarily
would that be
simple.
in lieu of landscaping inside of that then?
That is
If you
the,
can't see in there, why would I have landscape?
that is the question that I'm asking.
I'm not saying I don't want a few trees, but I don't want 300 plants that I have to maintain.
Are we discussing your question?
I'm just asking a question.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't, people keep discussing it, but I'm asking a question.
It begets
so
a
we can-
discussion.
I'm looking for answers.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we can put a pin in that and come back to it for discussion.
Well, that would certainly look a lot better than privacy screening or a solid fence of any kind.
It certainly would, and as it develops, it would develop in time for the public to show up for all the attractions that are going to be drawing the public past your property. And
Let's hold the discussion though, as Amy said, let's put a pin in it.
I got too excited.
I know, Jim.
Well, I guess I had a question. There's an existing fence and with barbed wire on top. And then the sidewalk that the city is working on, you're going to take that, it's going to take out a chunk of that fence.
No, not at all. There's 20 feet between the two.
Okay, so
The
it's
city right
not,
away is just
It's not impacted by the sidewalk project or anything.
Not at all. It's
And
just,
just by the new driveway
yeah,
then.
whoever built the fence didn't quite follow the property line. It's on a long arc. And when we drew it up, it's not, you know, it's in the city right away in a few spots. John could probably explain that better.
So then you would be keeping the fence and the barbed wire on the top?
I'm just gonna move it to the property line.
Yeah, the proposal is for the section of the fence, which is roughly half, give or take, of the existing frontage, needs to be relocated from its current location rearward towards the existing building to the property line. So we're basically going to take the fence apart, move the post back to the property line, put the fence back together. So it'll be the same material, still have the barbed wire on front, which provides him with a little bit of protection for his vehicles that may be parked there overnight.
Sorry, Jim.
That's my question.
So to clarify, I think you touched on this before. It's only going to be a few vehicles. There's no materials storage. It's just a few vehicles that will be in there. Probably there's 8 parking spaces, so it sounds like less than that. Some of those are going to be used by people in their normal daily vehicles.
There's eight parking spaces. It was the agreement we came to with ARC as opposed to the required 16.
Right. I think there's a question of whether that.
Based on the number of employees, you know, most of his employees take their work vehicles home at night with them. So they come to the shop, they load up for the day's work, they go do their day's work, they go home.
Right. I remember that from the ARC.
There's very little public interface on a daily basis. Once in a while, somebody will stop by to pay a bill, but most of the time it's telephone calls and appointments.
Right.
So to answer your question, yes, it will primarily be, you know, some of their larger vehicles that don't get used on a day-to-day basis. But there's no proposal right now for outdoor material storage, i.e. no pipe racks, no anything like that.
So in terms of those larger vehicles that would be stored there, how many larger vehicles do you expect to be stored there?
We also have a M1 property on Railroad Grass Valley, which is our laydown yard, which we store this stuff.
Okay.
Pipe, materials, trucks,
Right.
stuff like that, but that doesn't mean that, it can't come over there and sit there, wait for something to be outfitted or, whatever. I want to be able to use the space if I need it, but I don't plan on storing pipe and stuff like that.
Right.
outside.
I was more just interested in the number of vehicles, and it sounds like most of those vehicles are in Grass Valley. They'll be up there temporarily
I'd have to stop and
unloading
count
them.
how many vehicles we have.
Yeah.
But you're from having that quantity in Nevada City, you're talking a couple that might be there. Just
Yeah, periodically.
Periodically. They're not even stored there regularly. That's what I'm
the
clarifying.
main storage is in Grass Valley.
Got it. Understood. So if you had a choice, would you even want a fence period there? Do you want that for security?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, there's already a fence there.
There's
So,
already
yeah,
there,
for
and you would
security,
keep
sure.
it there. I mean, you're going to the effort of moving
Yeah,
it.
definitely.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that's it for my questions at this point. Any other questions from anyone?
There are a lot of areas to, it's a multi-part proposal, so I'm curious, was the second driveway discussed at ARC and recommended for approval?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm also curious about the lighting plan, there are a lot of wall-mounted lights on, are we there yet? I mean,
You can ask a question.
yeah, okay. There are a lot of wall-mounted lights on industrial properties that there's a new building that went up near the industrial place that I use for my business, and they light the whole neighborhood and blind drivers. And I don't see, and there are also wall pack units that are downward directed, which they don't light outward, which would be preferable from a security standpoint. But not preferable from a public interface standpoint. And I'm not clear which which lights are proposed for where. I didn't see a wall-mounted unit, or I didn't see it delineated as a wall-mounted unit.
That's been submitted.
Yeah, the light pole stands are some that are actually out inside the site area.
Right.
Which are gonna provide the majority of this lighting for the site. There are existing lights on the building that have been accounted for here. And I believe we added 1 or 2 new ones to match the existing ones that are there.
I think we added one.
We added one.
We added one light.
On the building itself. So-
Right, I'm just curious about the nature of those. I haven't been by to see them.
We submitted that. I sent that to Jessica.
Okay, let me see if I can bring it up real quick.
It's the same thing that's on there now.
It's a, if I'm remembering correctly, it's a very small kind of mini pack.
Right.
LED kind of type fixture, so it's not the big industrial. The light you're describing is one that's a large kind of wall pack, which throws a ton of light and blinds people. It's not that, this is more like more of a pedestrian type level light. If I remember correctly.
I guess I'll wait for her to bring that up.
Can you see all of this? This is the
I
same.
think you can kind of get an idea, Commissioner Nye, based on the photometric plan. That's showing the location of the wall-mounted lights directly underneath. It's four candles, and by the time you get to the end of the parking space, 15 feet or 18 feet away, it's down to 0.1. So they are, based on this, they're pretty directed straight down, to eliminate the sidewalks underneath the doors and along the access sidewalk from the parking spaces.
Right, so I can bring up the photometric plan that you submitted here. I mean, you can see it's 5 right here, 5 and 4, and then immediately right outside of that range, it's only 0.6 and then 0.1. And it goes down to 0. This one looks brighter, 9.
May I approach?
Yeah, can you see it?
I was just going to see what we sent to our lighting person. So I think that's the one that's in. So it's one that's kind of bracketed, kind of approach. That's the one that's on the building.
Can I pass this?
You want to pass your phone down the line?
I just, oh my God.
Uh-oh.
Can you get the picture back? Sorry.
But it's what's there already. They're like and I believe they pointed more down.
Right, okay.
And it's not, it doesn't, so it's, what I'm trying to say, it's not throwing like a ton of light out. It's a pedestrian type light.
Well, go ahead, Tom, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, to be clear though, is it fully shielded? So is it
Yeah, it
directed
just
down?
goes straight down. It's just
Okay,
about
it's not,
that big and
there's
it goes
no
straight down.
component that's going,
Oh, there's no
This is-
uplight component.
or side light component.
I know
This
I
is the one that
submitted
was
spec,
submitted, I
it's
just
not
found it.
submitted.
Okay.
Right, so it's,
Yeah.
it's directed,
Yeah.
it's fully downward directed, yeah.
Okay, I think that's just with the clarification.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my concern comes from, it's proximity to, I don't know, well, a public traffic area, though not directly at residential stuff, but, yeah, so that's perfectly fine, yeah.
Right, you're concerned about a light pollution blinding somebody in a car coming up the road.
Yeah, and Grass Valley doesn't appear to care that much about that.
2 of them were already existing and we're only adding 1.
Other questions? We're still in the question part. Any other questions? If there's no other questions, there's no public for public comment, so we can have discussion now. So I think you had some discussion, Amy.
I think a lot of the aims here could be solved by planting something like jasmine or something similar within your price range that we know to do well in this climate with a simple drip irrigation.
And not
I would be
doing-
satisfied by that.
And not do any landscaping inside of that?
I, as one voice, would be satisfied by that. Yes.
I would agree as well, like, if you would enjoy it, that'd be great, but if it's
I don't want
if it's a
any
fully,
landscape.
right, if it's a fully
Not that I
obstructed.
don't want it, I just don't wanna have to,
Maintain it.
maintain it.
Yeah, it's an industrial, it is industrial, right?
It is,
Yeah,
Yes,
fully
so-
industrial.
Who knows if someone else buys it in the future, if they're then just gonna tear it up. In the meanwhile, this solves the ultimate goal.
Right.
And much more attractive than the,
Yes.
than the various
Anything else.
strategies of making chain link
Including,
obscure.
including wood slats and chain link or the green
It's all
mesh.
future trash.
Yeah, it's all future.
Corrugated shiny metal,
Yeah, so.
much.
And from may I ask a question?
Sure.
So from a quantity standpoint, like, is that truly just where you're seeing that is just screening the area where of potential parking? Like, how far do you take that? Because it's a long right of way, right?
Yeah,
It's
no,
a long
you've got,
fence.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that. You've got, what, 200 feet or more?
Yeah.
We're discussing the area that surrounds the storage yard, correct?
But that's the whole street
No.
frontage, is it not?
Yeah.
We're discussing both, I think, the street frontage and the storage. Or we should be.
The entire frontage is nearly 500 feet.
Yeah, and I think the whole thing is visible because of that diagonal.
I
So,
could see it from the upper corner down to the corner of the building there,
Yeah.
and beyond that, it's all native landscaping. There's nothing back there, you can't even see
Nothing
through it.
screened.
Like here.
Right.
Right, yeah, once you get past there, all that is not accessible. It's really,
Right.
I think, right? That's not really accessible.
So at that point, we wouldn't need
we need the fence, I wouldn't think.
well, the fence is still there, but
Fence is there.
what would we have the landscape area for? So we just,
It's native,
we
native
still plant some
vegetation
stuff
at that-
there. I
at
mean,
that-
I'm fine with, throwing a couple trees and, some shrubs in there, some ground cover, but just not 300 of them.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah, yeah.
So on the idea of like, of the quantity of plants, since there is a lot of native vegetation and native growth, have you guys ever like quantified and done like a ratio? Oh, this amount of native plantings remaining, and that can that adjust like the total quantity of that's required? Has there ever been like some sort of ratio looked at like that?
Well, native plants can substitute for the landscape requirement, so definitely this whole area here, that's why there was no landscape showing on the,
Yeah.
landscaping showing on the landscape plan down here. But then the code is pretty clear that it's supposed to be 15 feet back from wherever we're measuring from, which we just, everybody disagrees. And I will agree with you that our public works director does not want landscaping in the right of way, that he was clear about that. But that's what our code says we're supposed to do. So there's
No,
conflict
I
there.
get the
Yeah.
dichotomy,
Yeah.
between code and what,
Yeah.
Public Works wants. And I understand why
Yeah.
Public Works doesn't want it, because it's perceived that then they have to maintain it if it's in the city right of way.
Yeah,
But-
and they don't want future conflicts if they need to do something in the right of way. And they're removing landscaping, you put a bunch of effort into, you put a bunch of money into into irrigation improvements and that type of thing. But yeah, to finish answering your question, it's not like, well, this whole thing is native landscaping back here, can that substitute for the required landscaping in the other areas? And the answer is not the way the code's written right now.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Just along, it has to be along the frontage here. So I have a question. If we do the landscaping and I guess, would it be in front of the fence or behind the fence? And then what would be the depth? Would it just be kind of like one plant every how many feet? Do we want to get specific?
Depends on how rapidly you're comfortable with it covering the fence. I'm looking it up right now.
Okay.
Anywhere between 3 to 6 to 8 feet between plants. And it would take 2 to 3 years for them to cover it, which seems, Tom has some recent experience in the matter.
Jasmine is growing like crazy in a really unsunny spot. So in your location, it would take off really quickly. So probably, like every every 8 feet or 6 to 8 feet.
Okay, every 8 feet,
And it
maybe.
would really take off and it doesn't, I can't seem to kill it.
Well, provided we all agree on this, I can go back and have it redrawn, some of the landscaping throttled back a little bit and then show those on the plan.
All right, we're looking at 62.5 plants for 500 feet, if that is the way it were to go. It would take, but the thing is, like, are we comfortable then with it taking 2 to 3 years for it to fill in?
I
am.
Yeah.
I think that's good, and I'm for it. I just sort of had a question. I mean, it is a light industrial zone there, but it is, and this item was introduced in the context of the putting in the railroad.
Yep.
And which is a city effort to bring visitors there.
Yep.
And the sidewalk. And then the Northern Queen is across the street, so, I mean, which is kind of not all that functional right now, but hopefully it'll come back. So it's a light industrial zone within you know, it's the adjacent properties or not. I mean, that's why we're talking about screening and the impact that it has on these other, no, we're not.
I mean, we're talking about it because it's a requirement of the code.
Right.
That's why we're talking.
But that's why it's in the code.
Yeah, and I think you're right in that, you know, the goal this would be, you know, to quote unquote screen, you know, this storage of vehicles from that. But I think I keep in mind the fact that if they weren't doing this here, it would just be a chain link fence there, you know, from now until eternity, or until somebody else comes in with a proposal for it. And I think that the ultimate 2 to 3 year accumulation, and assuming it's properly maintained and all that sort of thing, would be a benefit for the city, you know, above, not just above what's there now, but also above, you know, having that green mesh material. So,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Do you have concerns about Jasmine as a direction versus
No, I
something
think
else?
that Jasmine's a great idea.
Okay.
I'm thinking about the fence behind it, I mean, and more, you know.
Oh, you mean like within the yard itself?
Yes, yeah, because it's being moved.
I mean, but then
And-
you're not gonna see it.
Well, I think there's a question though about what, and I think you were asking whether it should be on which side of the fence, on the outside.
Well, I
or
mean,
on the inside?
I think it's immaterial whether the root of the plant is on the street side of the fence or the property lines, or the building side of the fence. That, to me, is immaterial. My earlier question was, you know, city ordinance says that the 15 feet shall be measured from the back of sidewalk if a sidewalk is present, otherwise from the edge of pavement. In this particular instance, that makes no sense. You know, if the property were on Broad Street, where the back of sidewalk is essentially the property line, the demarcation between public right-of-way and private property, that makes perfect sense. In this particular instance, where you have a 65-plus foot wide right-of-way for Railroad Avenue, it makes no sense, because the majority of the improvements of Railroad Avenue are on the southerly side of the right-of-way. So we've got this large area that is public right-of-way that the Public Works Director doesn't want anything private within that area. So we're at odds between the ordinance and Public Works and all of that. So, you know, I think by planting the jasmine at the relocated position of the fence, which will be right on the property line, will meet the intent of the screening. Thank you, Amy. And, you know, if we can then reduce the amount of landscaping measured from the property line interior, you know, to something a little more reasonable, because nobody's ever going to see it once.
Yeah,
you know.
Agreed. And I think we generally heard here that if we have that screening in place, inside, forget it. You do whatever you want inside.
Do whatever you want to do.
But I think there's still the requirement, based on, as you just outlined, even though Brian's not in favor of it, I'm still hearing that the code says 15 feet from the 15 feet line, from the sidewalk to the fence. There's still a code requirement to put something in there.
Now I need a clarifying description. We've got the sidewalk, there's this 15 feet between the sidewalk and the fence,
And the fence is on the property line.
and the fence is on the property line.
Yeah.
So why is it up to the applicant to deal with the space between the fence and the
That
sidewalk?
is the dilemma.
Well, I mean,
Can we move past that? Can we move around it somehow? Do you have a trick in your sleeve, Jessica?
well, I think we need to be careful with that. I mean, this is not the only case in city code where the property owner is, required to take care of public right of way. I mean, public's supposed to shovel sidewalks, and maintain sidewalks and things like that too. That's also in city code. I see this as, a comparable requirement for that. Could call it right or wrong, should the
Wrong of way?
wrong of way. I'm saying if you think it's the right thing or the wrong thing to require the property owner to take care of that, that's a separate judgment, again, another policy decision. But right now, requirement in code is to have that there. And they could go and ask the council for an exemption to that. But I think for us, in judging what again, as a quasi judicial body, judging what's in code and whether it meets it, and the intent of it, and I think judging on the intent is to have something that is, relatively appropriate to look at in that right of way up to the fence. And I think we've agreed because that's the intent, we can ignore what's inside the fence if we're going to have that fence screening.
But I'm looking at the map right now,
Yep.
and what I'm seeing is just a tiny little bubble that says existing native plants only, no planting outside of fence. Am I just coming full circle in this discussion and catching up with everyone?
All of the proposed landscaping, per the landscaping plan, is interior of the property line. So my dilemma is that if we're going to do plantings within the public right-of-way, per the conditions of approval, any work that is done within the city right-of-way requires an encroachment permit. An encroachment permit is going to be issued by the Department of Public Works.
Right.
Department of Public Works
They said they don't want
head
it.
does not want anything private within the right-of-way, therefore he's going to deny the application for an encroachment permit.
That's a
So
reasonable
now
assumption.
we're at odds with the conditions of approval, and we can't get the project approved for for a certificate of occupancy because we can't put our landscaping in because we're at odds.
Yeah, I hear
So
what you're saying. Is Brian even here?
I'm checking right now.
Sounds like a little bit of a pickle that we can't solve here.
Well,
I wonder if we could approve part of,
I feel like we're feel free, people should comment on other things that are in here, but I feel like most people have comments on other parts of this. I don't have any comments or concerns about the rest of this. I mean, everything on the building looks fine to me. We discussed the questions about the lighting. That all looks fine to me. The parking looks fine to me. I think we've all come to an agreement on the fence. We all agree that having a living screen on that is good. And again, speak up if anybody's wrong.
Especially in exchange for what appears to be like an owner's requirement for landscaping for your own enjoyment, us requiring you to enjoy landscaping,
and we're
the
saying
public doesn't benefit from.
Yeah, and that's what we're saying, that we're not going to require, I think we agree
So it
that we
seems
don't
like a good
require
trade.
anything within the fence.
So I have a question. If the jasmine is planted on my side of the fence and not in the city right away, does it still intertwine?
I think
in
the
fence?
assumption is it would grow through the fence and.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
screen
because
it.
part of the jasmine, you would want to hide the fence as well.
Yeah, assuming it's.
I would recommend planting it on your side just because you're going to have drip irrigation
Yeah.
going through and it just makes sure that,
If it was on the outside, it'd be just on the outside.
And
But
my star jasmine took over.
It'll
It's
climb
like-
Takes over,
anything.
yeah,
it
it's
takes
gonna
over,
be,
yeah, you won't have to worry
So
about
why
it.
not just do that?
you mean use that as the between, the 15 feet between?
Well, we can't plant in the city
Yeah,
right away, so.
I think we've got agreement on everything except for this 15-foot, and we're trying to get clarification on that.
If it's
It
in the
would be
city
nice
right
if
away,
we could just,
the city
make
would
it
have to maintain that,
Yeah,
and they don't want to, they don't maintain it now.
and it's,
Are you guys gonna do an update,
update of what?
design guidelines and?
it's up to the city council to determine. That said,
That's a different question, I'm curious. That's-
There will be one, for fire purposes, that's already in the works. But just a general update is not planned at this time.
Yeah, yeah. They don't happen very often.
Which,
No, it doesn't.
landscaping within 15 feet of the roadway is in violation of the fire safe standards anyway, because that requires a 10-foot buffer zone between the edge of travel, actually the edge of shoulder and 10-foot outboard.
That's another conflict.
Reasonable point. Good point. So we reduced the 10 feet to 5 feet.
Though non-flammable ground cover, might.
So is,
I agree,
Some
but,
recycled
if you
rubber or
look
what?
at your landscaping standards where we have to put in shrubs and we have to put in,
that Brian
a certain
coming in
number
here?
of trees and et cetera, most of that would be in violation of the fire safe standards for the fuel modification zone.
That's not Brian.
Is Brian available?
No, I'm not getting any response from anyone upstairs.
What are our options, Jessica,
so-
or Rod?
Well, I would suggest this, that we approve, let me clarify this. Does anybody else have any discussion on anything else other than this landscaping? No, okay. I would suggest then that we approve, this and assign a liaison to work with Jessica and the applicant and Brian on a suitable solution that, for the space, the public right of way, essentially,
For the landscaping.
for the landscaping there. Yeah,
Within the public right away.
within the
Okay,
public right of way.
So to be clear, we're gonna use a living screen in lieu of solid fence. No landscaping behind the fence on the interior of the property,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just
for the living
landscaping,
screen.
except for the living screen. Are we wanting to make that Jasmine, or can he find something else if he finds something worse? The liaison could help
I
with
think the
that.
liaison could help
Okay.
with that too. And
Okay.
given you're a plant
I'll do
person,
it.
I think Amy's the
Great.
person to do that.
Amy liaison. And then we're gonna work with the liaison on landscaping in the right of way
Yep.
to meet the code requirement.
We can wait.
Yeah, but but to take into account, Brian's concerns, what was just mentioned about fire requirements, all that.
Yeah, maybe it's 5 feet from the fence.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the resolution.
Maybe
on
that's
that.
it, but, and this hopefully ultimately could be taken as a recommendation to the council for changes in the future
Okay.
to clarify this in code.
And with that, provided you guys all vote and approve it,
Yep.
we'll be able to submit for a building permit and get that reviewed.
Yeah,
That's not gonna hold us up.
That should not. I'll let Jessica answer that, but I don't think it should hold you up.
Nope.
What are my, can you clarify for me, please,
So
what exactly it is
so
that I
you're-
need to
you're
do?
You're going to, it may not be Jasmine, it could be something else. You'll work with them to approve that, whatever goes along the fence. And you'll also meet with Jessica and Brian and the applicant to figure out the question of what goes in that public right of way outside of the fence.
If anything.
If anything,
If anything.
see what, maybe we talk to Russ as well about
Yeah.
what our options are,
Yeah.
okay?
Pull in whoever you need.
I'll-
Jessica will be the.
We'll go back to my landscaper and we'll make changes to what we want inside.
Yeah.
And show the Jasmine or something similar. I'll have to defer to him because I'm.
It just does very well.
Huh?
It just does really well, that's
That's fine with
why,
me. I'll
yeah.
just defer to him and see what he thinks about that.
And it smells really nice, too.
It does
Smells
smell really
great.
nice.
It's
It does smell
beautiful.
really nice.
It's a great plant.
We had
If
to
you want to
cut
have
ours down.
hives, you could bring it.
Okay,
Money.
with that.
Architectural review looks great if we're commenting.
Oh, yeah.
Architectural group
Yeah, everything else
review
is great. It's,
Yeah, it's an improvement.
Yeah, I mean, adding those windows and features on the outside of the building is definitely an improvement, so,
That's all Robert.
yeah. With that, would someone like to make a motion, or I can bring it up here?
oh, you do it.
I have to find it.
So just to clarify, I don't have to come back and do this
No,
again.
unless that liaison feels that there's something that is beyond the scope of, that is questionable, doesn't fit
I
within what
feel
we've
like we'll be able
approved.
to work it out between
Yeah.
the three of us and Brian.
Exactly.
I sure hope so.
I hope so too. Let me find.
It hasn't been that bad, has it?
No.
Jessica, do
No,
I
it's just
need
been a
to
long
take steps to
duration
schedule
between
something, or
having
will
the
this be
plans
something
drawn
I'll be
up,
pulled
Getting all the way
into?
through.
I'll let you know. I did just get a response from Brian. He says he's hanging out if we need anything. Do we want him still or no?
Well, this is going to be a longer
Let's
discussion.
punt it.
Okay.
Okay, I make a motion that we find the project exempt from CEQA and that we approve the site plan review application with the conditions of approval, making the following findings, A through C, that we approve the tree removal application, including finding A and its subsections, and that we approve the architectural review for the site with A and B, and with the recommendation that the Star Jasmine or a appropriate alternate plat be put along the fence, therefore reducing the requirements of, the Star Jasmine be planted subject to the review of the liaison, who will be Amy, and thereby reducing the requirement for planting inside the fence, or eliminating the requirement for planting inside the fence, and that the liaison work with city staff and the applicant to resolve the questions surrounding the plantings in the public right-of-way and the requirements therefore. That is my motion. Would someone like to second my motion?
I'll second that,
Thank you, Tom.
if I may,
Nicely
yeah.
done, Rob. Thank
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Nye?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanamy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cobden?
Yes.
Chair Brown?
Yes. All right, great. Thank you guys for your patience in working
Yeah,
with us
thank
on
you.
this.
So I have a question. Are you gonna pass the set of plans on to the building department, or do we need to go submit those?
Okay,
That's what we're need to make a building.
right. I just need I don't know if I have the final set of your building plans. So,
I think so.
okay,
I think the only thing that got updated in this last round was the photometric, right? So
Yeah.
okay,
I think yeah.
yeah. So, okay, so if they're good to go, then I'll pass them around internally, and then we have to sign and stamp here, and then you can bring them over to the county.
Right, yeah, so we pick them, you guys do an internal, we pick them up, we'll take them to the county.
And there's some more fees here.
There's always fees, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be in touch with you. Yeah.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate it.
For your time. So we'll be in touch then.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, and you have an announcement, June 4th.
I do have
special
an
meeting.
announcement.
Yes.
There is a special meeting on June 4th, and I have confirmation from 3 commissioners, Commissioner Simmons, Commissioner Brown, and Hanami. Are you able to make it? We have a quorum. I'm just worried we're not going to have a quorum because we are going to have a number of items. This is overflow
We've
from
been
this
through
meeting.
this.
Yeah, we'd like to have everybody there, assuming health and all that.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, health and workload is like really on me.
I'm a
Yeah.
50-50.
Okay.
Thursdays have become a very challenging day for me. So to do it twice a month has become a little bit harder.
I'd say we'd like to have both of you attend if at all possible, because
I will try.
you guys definitely add to what we do as well, so. All right, any other
Okay.
announcements?
We're in the process right now of updating short-term rental regulations. That's like an active thing that's happening at the moment, and working with some stakeholder groups on that, and it will be going to the ballot in November. But that'll be run through, and I'm actually not sure if I think we're running it through you first and then city council, because it does need to be approved by city council before it goes on the ballot.
What level are we weighing in, or can we expect to weigh in?
What level? Like, it would be a recommendation.
Like, are we going to be talking about the details and making, okay, the regular, okay.
Yeah.
Not like if you're doing, not facial, superficial, visual.
No, nothing like that. Yeah.
Don't know why, I'm very tired, excuse me, guys.
Anything else?
Wait, I'm sorry, back to the 4th. I have a meeting at 4:30 on the 4th out at NCSA.
Okay.
So you would have to be done by around 4.
4,
Well, we got through stuff pretty good today. It's 10 after.
Yeah, it was a
Haven't
packed
noticed
schedule.
it. I mean, we haven't noticed it yet, so potentially we could
Reschedule.
date or the time of it. We could make it a little earlier that day.
Does it have to be a Thursday?
The previous day, I have city council that night, so I think I was trying to avoid same day.
Sure.
Because they'll be in here. And I don't know how long this meeting will go, but,
What about
look at,
Fridays? Is a Friday possible for anybody else?
Friday the 5th.
That's our graduation, so I won't be able to come.
Okay.
It seems likely that I will be in town
On Friday or Thursday or both?
Thursday the 4th.
it's actually Public Arts Commission on that Wednesday. Okay.
Or Tuesday. Does Tuesday?
Tuesday works for me. Just means I have to have my staff reports done.
I cannot do that Tuesday, I'm sorry.
I have a hard out somewhat early on Tuesday.
What if we started the meeting a little earlier on Thursday? And that way we can make sure we get through all the items with Commissioner Simmons. And we
Start
have
at
4
12:30?
people.
Start at 12:30?
Sure.
That's fine, yeah, sounds fine.
Yeah, that works for me.
That works for me.
Does that help you, Amy?
No, earlier is worse for me. But I can still see about it. I have, well, I don't need to explain. It's typically on Thursdays, I'm out at the Woolman property working with tribal staff. And that's the one day a week that I do it.
Okay, well, I guess we've agreed tentatively,
Yeah.
I agreed 12:30 on Thursday the 4th.
Yeah.
With the goal, with ending at 4 to accommodate Michon. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Great.
All right.
We're adjourned.